Hello, and welcome to my Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast review. The beginning is shit, the end is shit, and bits in the middle are shit. The first thing I will say is that I really enjoyed the experience of going to see this film. There were so many people in the audience, and some of the kids even dressed up. There was this excited energy in the room, it was great. And then after the film finished, everyone was smiling together, everyone seemed to have enjoyed it. And I was just sitting there thinking, maybe I'm the only person that didn't think it was very good. I thought it was quite a bad film. It's not terrible, but I just didn't like it. So this is a remake of the 1991 cartoon, and it's almost a shot-for-shot, line-for-line copy. If you're a big fan of the original or you like the look of the recent trailers, you'll probably enjoy this new film, so please don't let me put you off. I only watched the original for the first time about 2 months ago, and I thought it was alright. I did have some problems with it, and it's certainly not going to be one of my favourite Disney cartoons, but it wasn't bad. Overall, the new film felt fake, everything felt artificial. The sets didn't have that physical weight to them, the characters always looked like they were on a set or a soundstage, all of the visuals were really boring. But what do you expect from the guy who directed 2 of the Twilight films? A quick example would be this part where the Beast sings. There's loads of things happening that give a lot of visual interest. There's lots of movement, plenty of colour, and the characters are interacting. When the Beast sings in the new film, you get to see him walk around the dinner table carrying his plate. The camera is at this flat angle with very little movement. There's no character interaction, and then the Beast blocks the shot so we can't see the other character eating her soup. One of the biggest problems this film has is that the things they changed no longer work with the things that they didn't change. It's as if no one read the script and checked if it made any sense. They've expanded the intro, but that leads to more problems. In the original, they have the narrator tell us the story over a few images. The art style is really good, and the music sets a nice tone. In the new one, you have this little dance number, and you can immediately see how ugly everything looks. Everyone has this ugly makeup on with ugly costumes. There's so much movement and visual noise, so many details it's hard to focus on anything. When the witch shows up, the prince sends her away, but then the narrator just repeats the lines from the original cartoon even though they don't match what's happening on screen at all. The narrator says the prince dismisses her for a second time, but the actor just stands there. They say the prince begs for forgiveness, but he doesn't do anything of the sort. Did the writers even read the script? And then a little kid decides this is a good time to burst through the doors and gets turned into a teacup.
Oh no!
In the original, the witch places a curse on the whole castle and everyone that lives there. She never meets anyone within the castle, so it's never personal. And it keeps this gap so the prince is the one that comes off looking like the bad guy. She simply punishes the prince and the land he owns. In the new one, she meets all the people that she curses and she comes off worse than the arrogant prince. It's fine to curse everyone that laughed at her, but why did she feel the need to curse a 6-year-old boy and a little dog? What the fuck did the dog do? The witch is in this film a lot more. Gaston even ridicules her at one point. Why didn't the witch turn Gaston into a teacup? Hey writers, did you read the script? Why do you even need a narrator when you're showing people what happened anyway? What was great about the original intro was that even though the film had started, it only showed you still images and it built excitement by making you wait to see the full animations, which made the first music number seem all that more impressive. So the new film goes into its first song. This is their big opening. They want to make a good impression, right? There's so many little things wrong with it, which is surprising considering Disney is well known for striving for absolute perfection. It really irritated me that she smashed her fingers on the tray before taking the bread. And then she does a full turn to face this man with her arm fully down by her side. But in the next shot she's still turning and her arm is back up. That's nothing but lazy editing. Then she says this.
Where are you off to?
To return this book to Père Robert.
What book? You don't have a book. You had it about a minute ago in the establishing shot, but then it disappeared. And this guy doesn't even question it. Shouldn't he have asked where the book is instead of saying it sounds boring? Do you think the writers read the script?
Sounds boring.
And then there's an aerial shot where everyone freezes for a moment, except a couple of people still move, and then one guy does a little hop just before the beat kicks back in. You always lose something when you remake a film, but if you're lucky you can gain something as well. But to be honest, it's simply not that compelling watching Emma Watson sit in a room and talk to things that aren't really there for most of the film. Her eye lines don't match up with the CGI characters and her reactions don't fit with what they're doing. None of the CGI characters translated from the cartoon. They never looked remotely real, but even worse than that, the designs are so bad they actively made me angry. I'm sure they looked fine on paper in the studio, but they were clearly designed with no thought to them within the context of the film. In the cartoon, the teapot had this chubby grandmother look to her. You can instantly tell her personality from just a quick glance. Now it's just an ugly, expressionless teapot with dead eyes. It's like playing Mass Effect Andromeda.
Sorry, my face is tired from dealing with everything.
The candle was by far the worst. In the cartoon, his face is almost half of his entire body size. It was incredibly easy to read his expressions, even from a distance. In the new one, they've humanised his proportions a lot more, so not only is his head a lot smaller, but his actual expressions are much more limited. He's also a lot darker and there's a lot more details to his design, making it hard to instantly recognise his expression. Add to that he's made of metal, so anytime he's near a light source, like the one on his head or hands, you get loads of reflections that make it even harder to see what's going on. If it's not a close-up, you basically can't read his facial movements at all. The voice acting wasn't very good either. They didn't pop. Some of the accents were all over the place. The Beast's voice wasn't beastly enough. The singing was a lot more powerful and emotional in the original. I will say I honestly don't mind the use of auto-tune to help with the singing. You have effects that help with the visuals. I don't see a problem with using something to enhance the audio as well. You can tell Emma Watson can't hold a note. That said, none of them were even half as good as in the original. I mean, they're not bad. If I heard them at a karaoke, I'd have thought they were great. But the problem is that this film doesn't exist in a vacuum. We've already heard these songs before and done better.
Wake me up! I can't wake up! Save me!
There's a song called Kill the Beast, and all it did was get people from the village to the castle. They start in the village, and in the next shot, they're in the castle. How did the villagers know where the castle was all of a sudden? The villagers don't believe the beast is real, so Gaston proves it to them, and then they all agree to go and kill it. Then they start singing. What was the point in the song? It could have been cut. I'm aware that might also be a problem with the cartoon, but if you're going to remake a film, don't you think it would be a good idea to change things rather than blindly repeating the mistakes of the original? What they should have done is use the song as the convincing element. The song should have been Gaston trying to convince the villagers that the beast is real and it needs to be killed. Good songs move the story along or give you information. Whether you like the song or not, Let It Go from Frozen works because the character changes over the course of the song. She starts sad and by the end she's gone through an entire emotional change and built herself a fortress of solitude. Another song from Frozen is In Summer, which is very weak because it doesn't do much. It tells you the snowman likes summer. That's it. You could have easily cut it from the film and it wouldn't change a thing. Another example of a great song is You're Welcome from Moana. So much happens in that one song. The character is stranded on an island and we get an introduction to that character as well as their backstory. And then he traps the girl in a cave and escapes on her boat. The film wouldn't work without this song. So as it was, the Kill the Beast song should have been cut or changed because it doesn't achieve anything.
No, I won't let could you do this?
You're not with us, you're against us.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
There's also a magic book in the film they used to teleport to a different location, and then they never used it again. That book could have fixed so many of the characters' problems, but they just forgot it exists for some reason. I did like that they changed the dad from being a bumbling oaf into a real human being. The first scene with him and Belle was quite moving. The actors playing Gaston and LeFou were good, and you can tell they put some real effort in even though the material wasn't up to scratch. I will tell you something great this film did. It made me realise just how brilliant the original cartoon was. I have such a new appreciation for it, the little details and character moments that I never noticed until they were gone. The cartoon really is great, you should definitely watch it. This remake loses all the charm of the original. They had a chance to do something a bit different, but they just made a pale imitation. And this is coming from a person who thought the Jungle Book remake was alright. I kept thinking this would make such a great, mystical, slightly dark and scary fairy tale. Then I realised if I'm thinking that, what the hell have I been watching all this time? Where's the mood? Where's the atmosphere? And what the fuck did the dog do?
Come into the light.